It is time to do some homework.
Homework. I love it. I love it.
And we have a lot of email questions tonight.
We do. So people are using our Yak Back feature. Great. So I'm going to go to the board, and Donna's going to read me the problem that we got. Okay?
That sounds good.
All right.
All right, Laura, here you go.
I'm ready.
It says a screw takes 16.5 turns per inch. How many turns of the screw to screw in 2.5 inches?
Okay. So it's 16.5 turns per inch.
Yep.
Okay. And then we want to know how far.
How many turns
in 2.5 inches.
for 2.5 inches?
Okay. So when I first heard this problem, it was a little confusing when I first heard it. So the way that the screw works is it's got an inclined plane, and as you go around it, like imagine if you took an inch of thread and you wrapped it around the screw, right? So it's just saying that if you turn it 16 times, that would make a whole inch, okay? So that kind of explains where they're talking about inches on the side of a screw. So I need to, let's say, imagine if I was going to wrap 2.5 inches of thread around the screw, okay? How many times would I end up wrapping it around the screw? All that it's really asking, okay? So we have 16.5 turns per 1 inch. So what I'm going to do, I am a big ratio and proportion fan, and sometimes it makes a lot more sense to me to use proportions. So I'm going to set it up as a proportion because I never mess it up when I write it as a proportion. I mess it up sometimes when I just say like, oh, I think I multiply or I divide. If you take the time to write the proportion, it makes it a lot easier. So what I know is I'm going to return 16.5 into 16.5, okay? And it's 16.5 turns. And I know that's going to get me 1 inch. And the reason I chose, another reason to use the proportion is I have a unit rate right here. Like how many turns would it take for 1? And that's kind of your unit rate. So I know if I have 1 inch, it's going to be 16.5. But I don't want to know 1 inch. I want to know 2.5 inches. So I'm going to set it up as a proportion over here. And on this side, I'm going to put 2.5, and I'm going to write inches. Now, the reason I wrote it on the bottom, this is probably the most important part of the whole equation, is do I write this 2.5 on top or do I write it on the bottom? And since I wrote the word inch here, and that's really important that you write these words, I have to write the word inch over here, which means over here when it said how many turns, up here is the how many turns. It's the part that I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out how many turns, okay? So there are definitely quicker, easier ways to do that, but they don't work for every single problem. This one, I know if I set up a proportion, will work every single time, and I understand what I'm doing as I'm working at it. Okay, so I'm just going to cross multiply here, and let's switch our little pen color right here. So I know this times this, let's even write that out, 16.5 times 2.5 is going to equal this times this, 1 times x, which is the x, okay? So we know that's going to equal x. So all I have to do to solve this problem right now is to just do 16.5 times 2.5. I don't feel like going to take out the calculator. I'm going to use my brain today. I'm just going to do a little multiplying. 5 times 5 is 25. I'm going to carry the 2. 30 plus 2 is 32. Carry the 3. 1 times 5 is 5 plus 3 is 8. I'm going to use my placeholder. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 13, carry the 1, and the 3. I bring them all down. Okay, and I get 4,125. Remembering that that doesn't even make sense. That would be 4,125. I say, oh, this is a decimal problem. It's 2 spaces over. So it's going to be 41.25 is x. So that's my answer, but it's 41.25 what? And here is why my proportion problem is great, because I come back here, x is 41.25. It's going to be 41 into quarter turns will get me 2.5 inches. So that is how you use unit rate to help you out with a proportion problem. Thank you for your problem. That problem came from New York City today.